Hold on. I love that song. I don't know why, but it just really gets me going. Gets my foot tapping and my feet moving. So awesome. We're so excited to be here today. We have with us so far, we have Jacqueline and Alyssa have shared something in the comments. Please tell us where you're tuning in from. We're excited today to introduce you to Mardi's newest book coming up called The Other Side of Divorce, Breakups That Lead to Breakthroughs. And so if you're a person who has experienced a divorce and you had a great result from it from the other side, we definitely want to hear from you. And we want you to stick around to see what we have in store for you today. So we have Palos Verdes, we have Viva Las Vegas, we have Chapel Hill. Sorry, I don't have a song for Chapel Hill.
Is there a song for Chapel Hill?
I don't know, but there should be. Hey, Mardi, where are you tuning in from today?
I am in the Northeast Texas area, close to Texarkana.
Okay, and I'm in San Diego, California. So we've got, part of the states covered here. And James Taylor, I don't know where he must be from Chapel Hill. Okay. I love it. So we're here to talk today about, this book that's coming up, and Mardi's going to share a little bit about what the book is, what the idea behind it is, and how she came up with this idea. And then after that, I'm going to share with you how you can join us in this book. First thing I want to say right up front, because this is a question I know you're going to be thinking throughout this entire thing, is this going to cost me money? Yes, there is an investment. So I just want to put that right out there. If you're like, I don't want to invest in this, then you might as well not watch the rest of this webinar. I'm just going to say it right out. That's one thing you'll learn about me is I'm upfront and honest about everything, and I do not pull back anything. And so, Mardi, let's just get right into it. Why don't you share with everybody why the other side of divorce and, breakups that lead to breakthroughs, and what was it about this that made you decide to do it? And then why should people be here? Okay, you got these questions to answer, okay? And then the last one is, who is this a great fit for? So why don't you share with us, Mardi?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, everybody, for taking your time to be here. I really appreciate this. Most of you know that I am a divorce coach. As a matter of fact, I think everybody that I'm seeing probably knows me as a divorce coach. And what I experienced going through my divorce, and what I think a lot of women going through divorce experience, is this overwhelming sense of, I don't know, at some point in time, it's like you hit a wall. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is emotionally exhausting. This is financially draining. This is just sucking the soul and life right out of me. And so a lot of my clients are in that phase or that stage in the divorce. And I think it's important to have a way to share as women that have gone through this and have seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and then have not only got to the light, but have created the life that we want to live on our own terms. I think it's helpful and really inspirational when you're in that dark spot of the divorce to have that ability to read about just regular women, not superstars or celebrities necessarily or any of that, but just women who have gone through this, experienced some of the challenges of divorce, and then created this wonderful, fantastic, abundant life that they are living now, whatever that abundance looks like. So my goal with this book was to find women who kind of found themselves in that role where they are sharing their story. They are saying, you can do this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And not to dwell on all the challenges of divorce, because that's out there. We can find that fairly easily. But I really want to have this book that's going to be an inspiration, so that when you're in that dark phase of divorce, your mom can give you this, or your friend can give you this, or your colleague can give you this, and you read through it and you start saying, that's me, and I know I can make it past this dark spot. So it's not about sharing, the war stories of the divorce, although you're more than welcome to share some of that if you'd like to. But it's more about how did you get yourself out of that funk? How did you move yourself forward? And how do you see your story helping other women just like you who are in that same place?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Marty, I want to say there is nothing ordinary about you, lady. Okay. There's nothing ordinary about any of us. Like, we're all amazing. Every single one of us, we're all created in God's image, and we're here to do whatever we're here to do. And, just want to ask you, Marty, have you been divorced?
Yes, I have been. And
And
it was a while ago, but it's still, there's still times when I think about it, and it's not something that you just shake off and, turn around and it's over. It sticks with you.
yeah, definitely. I was just thinking, because we're getting ready to do this presentation, remembering my divorce, like the day my divorce became final. And that was the day that my friends and we went out and partied, because I finally got rid of that dead weight that was really dragging me down. And I didn't know at the time how much he was dragging me down until way many years later. And so sometimes that's the story, right? For me, the story is like there was this dead weight. I didn't know it was a dead weight. I released it, and I went on this journey, and it took me many years to recover from what had happened during my marriage. But what the result is today is, like, I'm so grateful to myself for saying, I got to cut this. I got to cut this out.
Yeah.
Right. And so we want to hear those stories. And mine is many years. Mine was 40 years ago that I got divorced. And, I had 2 kids in a 2-year marriage, and, things were really fast moving. And the story, though, of what unfolded after that divorce is what I'll be sharing in the book. I'm excited about this book because I don't usually talk about my first marriage, just because I don't care about it. It's gone. It is totally, like, in the history books and done. I'm done with it. But to be able to have this ability to share with those, like you mentioned, those who are going through the hills and valleys right now, they're stuck down there and they don't know how to get out. It's possible that my story might be the one that they needed to read
Yeah.
in order to make that shift, whatever that is. So
Yeah.
just like you said, Marty, it's not always about the famous people. We might not be famous, but we all have a story, every single one of us. And so one thing I like to point out is I want you to think about a book that you have read. And that book was a book that had like one key phrase in there, or it had one key sentence, or the entire book was something that transformed your way of thinking. It transformed your life. Your story is that book for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't shared it, it's time. It's time. So Marty, what I would love for you to talk about is, like, who are you envisioning to be in this book? I know you mentioned, the women, but who is really that person? Is it somebody who just, has a story to tell? Is it somebody who helps people like you? You help people through these types of situations. Who is like a great fit for this book?
I honestly think there's 2 people I think that would be a great fit, or 2 kind of general categories. The first one are people who have been through divorce themselves and who now support people going through divorce, whatever that may look like. Whether you have a podcast, whether you are a coach, whether you help out at your church, or whether you just talk to women in your community and share that information. So that group, and then the second group are people that have gone through divorce and maybe don't do divorce related work now, but women that just found that this opportunity to start life on their own terms really motivated them and inspired them and gave them maybe that passion to return to school in their 60s or 70s and get a PhD. Or maybe they found that after the divorce, they reconnected with friends and family members and just have this amazingly rich relationship experience now. It doesn't have to necessarily be the professionals, because not all of us that go through divorce turn around and start working with divorced people. So anybody who found success by going through divorce, any woman that fits in that category, I think would be an ideal candidate for this.
Awesome. Perfect. If what Marty said sounds like a good fit for you, you can just head over right now if you want to actiontakerspublishing.com/divorce. Check it out. We've got all the information over there. But in the meantime, we're going to talk just a little bit more about this. And I want to share my perspective as to why a collaboration book. But before we do that, Marty, you were sharing with me something like right before we got started here about your experience in being in collaboration books. You've been in many. So why don't you share with us, if you know the number, share with us how many, and share what this has done for you by being in a collaboration book.
Well, so I'm going to preface this. I've been in 3 books with Linda and Sally at Action Takers Publishing, which is why I chose them to do this collaboration book. And I've been in 2 other collaboration books where it was, do-it-yourself publishing. And the experience is really night and day. So what I found is in the books that you did, Linda and Sally, what I found is that, first of all, working with 20 other authors around a similar topic was really amazing because we all networked and talked to each other. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say probably 20 to 30 podcast invitations. I found great people from my podcast through this experience. And I also got asked to contribute to blogs, to attend summits and to present on summits. And I actually got 2 live speaking gigs out of being in a collaborative book. So, because again, it's one thing when one author is marketing and publishing, but now you've got 20 people in the professional field that are now marketing and advertising this. And so the audience grows really quickly. And again, because I work as a divorce coach, I have got clients from being in these collaborative books. So it's been very beneficial for my business as well as for me personally to participate and get to know a whole new group of people.
That's awesome. And congratulations on that. And I'm glad to hear that you went with us for that reason, because, we're just doing our thing.
Yeah.
We're showing up, we're doing our thing. We're doing what I absolutely love. Sally absolutely loves it too. Sally is the vice president of author development at Action Takers Publishing. She's actually in the comments right there if you guys want to hook up with her. But we're just doing what we love doing. And that's it. Like, I don't have I'm doing this for a certain reason, except that I love it. That is the reason I do this. So that's awesome. Congratulations on all those successes. And if you want to find out how Marty did all that, you can definitely reach out to her. You have a conversation and find out, Marty, how did you do that? How did you make that happen? Or how did this help to make that happen? Getting clients and getting all those interviews, the stages and all that stuff. If you want to learn how she did that, please hop on a call with her. So what I'm going to do, Marty, is I'm going to switch to a short presentation that I put together. It's a lot of slides, and I'm going to make it through this really fast, okay? Our goal today is to be done here at the top of the hour. If you have any questions about what Marty shared or about what I'm about to share, please drop them in the chat, or you can hop on a call with me or Marty later at a later date. If you have questions while I'm giving the presentation right now, I won't be answering them unless it's something that I feel like, okay, this one has to be answered right now. What I'll do is I'll answer those at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to blast through these things. This is going to be a great test for me. Get to see how fast I can make it through these slides. So let's go. You ready, Marty?
I am.
Okay. I'm going to be watching your facial reactions for things. Okay. So we're going to be talking about, the fast track to becoming a best-selling author. And that's one of the things that being in these collaboration books do. All of our books that we have published are #1 international best-selling books. So we have a system down and it works. And I'll be talking a little bit about that in just a second. But what I want to talk about today is that fast track to becoming a best-selling author by joining a collaboration book. So 3 of the key benefits are that, as Marty, stated, you get that credibility that had her be able to get on all these stages, expanded her audience reach, because by being in a collaboration book with 20 or more people, then you have all these different people that you get to tap into their audience. And then there's financial opportunities. As Marty shared, she's gotten clients from being in these collaboration books, as well as I have. I've been in many, so I absolutely love it. So this is why I'm passionate about it, is that my voice was stifled for decades and I didn't know how to get my story out into the world. And creating this process, I'm going to share with you how I created this process of what we use, and who to trust on your best-selling book publishing journey is really important, because as Marty stated, she's been in 3 collaboration books with Action Takers Publishing and 2 with other companies, and it's like night and day. That means it's completely different, right? So really thinking about aligning with those who really have your back. Who has your back? Who wants to help you to get your message out there? Who wants to work with you to make sure that you're seen and heard? And so this presentation is for you, as Marty stated, this is for, somebody who is aspiring or existing author that you want to gain visibility, credibility, and authority by joining together with like-minded people who have a similar sort of story, but different, right? Similar, but different. Discover how to become part of a collection of experts. And that's what you become by being in a collaboration book as a collection of experts. You're going to learn how easy it is to become a best-selling author. And then you also have the opportunity to tap into multiple opportunities, again, as Marty stated at the beginning there. So are you ready? Type a yes in the chat right there. Type a yes in the chat if you're ready to unlock your story and embark on a remarkable journey of self-expression. Let's see some yeses in the chat. I'd like to at least see one. Marty, put a yes in there. So I see a yes in the chat. Okay. I don't see any yet, but I know I'm going to see some. So there we go. Thank you, Marty. So let's go. We're going to talk. This is a video, but right now I'm doing it as a PDF, so it doesn't show up as a video. I should have changed that. So who am I? I am a 38 times #1 international best-selling author and award-winning author. I'm a speaker, a contributing writer at Entrepreneur and Brains magazines. I'm the founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing, an executive film producer of the film Wishman, which is the story of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and then also a red carpet interviewer. I've interviewed, hundreds of people on the red carpet and absolutely love doing that. That's just like a little passion project that I do over there. Oh, here's a passion thing about me that I love. I play bass guitar in a rock band. Boom, 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 boom. So I ran away at 5 years old and I was gone an entire week. What happened during that week is something that would change the trajectory of my entire life. So if you imagine, running away at 5, that's a really brave thing to do. But what happened was when I came home, I became riddled with fears and I became a people pleaser. Nobody came to get me when I was gone. So I believed that they didn't come to get me because they don't love me and they don't want me around. By the way, I was just at the neighbor's house, so I was safe. My mom knew I was safe, but I didn't know my mom knew where I was. So this 5-year-old brain just, created its own little story, and that's that they don't love me, they don't want me around. And I lived my life that way. So, fast forward, I had 49 jobs in 36 years. I kept trying to find that place that I felt comfortable. I felt wanted. I felt needed. That started at age 5. And I just kept searching for it and searching for it. So during those 49 jobs, I was always the trainer. I was always the one who would show people how to use all the computer systems because I had this mind that was able to train people really well. And I also gained some incredible organizational skills, as you can imagine, by running a book publishing company and running all these different collaborative books, having 20 people at a time in a particular book, that it does take quite a bit of organizational skills. And then creating systems and efficiency. This is something that every job I ever had, I was the one who created the systems to make us run more efficiently. And so I've been able to bring all of those skills over to what we're doing here at Action Takers Publishing. And I got to tell you, when I first became an entrepreneur, which was about 10 years ago, I denied all of those skills. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that person I had been for 36 years in all those jobs. And so it's been interesting how I've now embraced that this is who I am. These are the skills and the values that I have to bring to the table. And so I do bring those and I bring them full force. So my voice on all those jobs, even though I was here doing all the training and stuff, nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. They didn't want to hear what I, the ideas that I had that could make things even better. They just, stifled me. And then I also felt ignored and judged, very judged. But at 51, everything changed for me. I embarked on a life-changing mission and I decided I am going to break through one fear every day for a year. That was a decision I made and I stuck with that. And I'm so glad I did. It really helped me to transform my life and become a different person. One of the things I discovered during that journey of breaking through a fear every day was that I have value. I have a voice and I have an ability to impact others with my stories, just like you do. And that took me on this journey. So my mission today at Action Takers Publishing is to empower 5 million women and men to share their stories with the world to make a greater impact on the planet. We do this one person at a time. We're a little over 500 authors so far that we have, created, #1 international best-selling authors, and it's been an incredible journey to step into my power of who I am and to show up as that person every single day. It all started with a collaboration book. The very first collaboration book I joined is called Footsteps of the Fearless. That was the year I was breaking through one fear every day. And my mentor was putting together this book, and he invited me to be in. And $6,000 later, I said yes. That was a lot of money to spend on a collaboration book, but I felt like there was something I needed to do. There was a reason I needed to do this. And I said, I'm going to do it and just trust. I'm going to trust that the investment will be worth it. And boy, has it. Everything has opened up since that first collaboration book. But that led me to writing my first book called The Year of Fears. After I broke through those fears every single day, my mentor said, you need to write a book about your year of fears. And so I ended up writing a book. It took me a year and a half to do it. And I'm so glad I did it. I was scared to put it out there, but I did. I put it out there. And about 3 months after I published it, I was attending an event and a woman walked up to me. She said, I bought your book, The Year of Fears. I read the first 14 pages and I've already broken through 5 fears. That was my moment that I realized how important it is and how valuable it is for us to share our stories. Just like Marty said, we're not famous. We're not these famous people out there. I'm just some regular girl who broke through some fears that decided to put it into a book. Somebody read it and it transformed her life. There have been other people too, but that was my moment, that epiphany moment of the value of our stories. And then that led to me deciding I was in a collaboration book. I wrote my own book. What's my next natural state of progression? I decided I'm going to put together my own collaboration book. I'm going to follow in the footsteps, right? The footsteps of the fearless. I'm going to follow in the footsteps of my mentor. And I'm going to put together a collaboration book. I'm going to call it Momentum, 13 Lessons from Action Takers Who Changed the World. And I reached out to 4 people that I knew that I had met on my journey. The founder of UGG Boots, the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the inventor of the credit card magnetic strip, and then my mentor, Greg Reed. And I asked them all, would you be in a book? Because I'm thinking of writing one. Every single one of them said, yeah, Linda, just tell me what you need me to do. And at that point, I was like, oh no, I have to put together this book because they said yes. So I have to commit to them. And I made a commitment. And it's interesting as I look back on that, is I'm glad I made the commitment to them first, because if I hadn't, I probably would never have done it because I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I was starting from scratch, and so I ended up putting together this book. And this gentleman here with the book, as you might see behind him, he has some pictures there of a gentleman that's Napoleon Hill of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. The gentleman there holding the book is not Napoleon Hill. That is Don Green. He's the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I reached out to Don. I didn't know him, but I reached out and I said, I'm putting together this book. Will you write the foreword? And he said yes. And so he ended up writing the foreword to Momentum, 13 Lessons from Action Takers Who Changed the World. That was the start of it all. I had so much fun and I lost so much money. Marty, I paid the ghostwriter more money than I made. And so I lost money, but I looked at it and I was like, that was so much fun. I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to be a little bit smarter about it. Maybe I'll actually break even this time, or maybe I'll make a little bit of money. But I had so much fun that the money didn't matter as much as the fun that I was having. So I put together these 2 books, The Fearless Entrepreneurs and Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. Both books launched 8 days apart, and they both became #1 international best-selling books in under 5 hours. So I looked at that, and I'm this person, I'm trying to figure out, how do I do all this stuff? How do I make it happen? And I was like, oh my gosh, these both, hit that bestseller status. I have something here. I know what I'm doing. I had the perfect ikigai. If you know what that is, that's like, I know what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I'm damn good at it, and I can make money doing it. The perfect ikigai was right in front of me. And I said, I'm a book publisher. Like that day I decided I'm a book publisher. That was September of 2021. So 2.5 years ago, I decided I was a book publisher. I called my clients in a mastermind. I had been running a women's mastermind for 6 years. I called them up and I said, guess what? Monday is our last day because I am now a book publisher. And so I refunded any money I owed to any of them. And I totally just engulfed myself in the book publishing world, which is so awesome because that led to what we're doing today. So here's some of my street cred, the street cred of like who you will meet at the, by being in a collaboration book, or who will be in the book with you. You never know. These are some of the books that we've published in the last 2.5 years. It's been an absolutely incredible journey. As you can see, a couple of the books there, Marty's shaking her head. A couple of the books that she's in are definitely up there. And if you're watching us right now, you may be in one or many of these books as well. And again, this is just a snippet of the books that we've published so far in 2.5 years. These books bring together people into an environment where you have an opportunity to connect with like-minded people. So in the joy of work, they all share a joy of work. And so they all had this opportunity to connect with each other related to people who actually love their work instead of connecting with people who hate their work. Like we know plenty of those people, right? Isn't it great to be in an environment where you're surrounded by people who love what they do as well? And never give up. The same thing. These are stories of, women and men coming together, never giving up on their dreams, on their passion, on their desires. How many people do we know in our lives that give up all the time? But you want to be surrounded by people who are like, let's go. We got this. You got this. Keep going. Those are the type of people you would want to be surrounded by. So I'm just going to blast through some of these slides, some of the people that I've met on my journey, and some of them have been, through the books, and I bring them into our environment for an opportunity to connect with them. Richard Jarvis was one of my favorite because I saw him, in Close Encounters and, and all those movies from back in the day. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I saw him in American Graffiti, way back. I was like, oh my gosh, I had an opportunity to meet him. But anyway, so these are some of the people that I've met on this journey. It's been absolutely incredible. Some of them you may have an opportunity to meet as well, just by being in my world. And did I click the wrong button? Okay, this was my favorite. Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico. I just reached out to his secretary and I said, hey, when he's in town, can I interview him? And she said yes, and got me on the docket. And when he was in town, I went to his presidential suite and interviewed him. That was one of those moments that I can't believe I'm doing this. This was my Barbara Walters or Oprah Winfrey moment. So here's what some of our authors are saying. Brigitte Limbanda, she says that bug is bitten. She's now been in several of our collaboration books. Tamara Avon, she says, working with Action Takers Publishing has been an experience I would recommend for all of those looking to be a published author. And then, so show me the money. So this is all about like, how do you make money by being in a collaborative book? Marty mentioned some of the ways that she's doing it, but this investment is investing in your brand and your professional network. You have an opportunity to connect with other people who have been through a similar yet different experience as you. So making those connections, you never know where they're going to lead. Do you have to do some work? Yes, you do. You have to reach out to them. You have to make those connections. But they're there and you already know that, oh, this is a like-minded person. It's a perfect fit for me. Sally, who is our VP of author development, I met her through a collaboration book. She reached out to every single author in that collaboration book. There were 150 of us. Several of them were celebrities and several of them were people like me, no celebrity. And she reached out to me. We ended up connecting. She joined my mastermind. So I was actually making money from Sally, through being in this book. And she joined my mastermind and everything is just blown up from there, that here we are now, partners in this business, Action Takers Publishing, to make a difference with each other. So you never know what kind of relationships are going to be created from that. But again, it's like-minded people. So your association boosts your credibility. Action Takers Publishing, even though we've only, been around as a publishing company officially for 2.5 years, I've been doing this for 6.5 years. When I started off with that very, very first book, and we're making a name for ourselves. Just like, Marty said, she doing this book has been doing our books with us has been like night and day from the other books she's done. We have several people that share with us the same exact experience. So we get referred all the time because people love working with us. So being associated with us is going to boost your credibility, as well as being associated with other people in the book as well. So potential partnerships and collaborations, we already talked about that. I'm not going to get into it. And then bestseller author status, same thing. So here's what, Angel B. Hartwell, she actually is hosting a book, just like Mardi is doing with us. Angel hosts the book Wickedly Smart Women, and she also has a podcast of the same name, Wickedly Smart Women. So she decided to expand her brand by doing collaboration books with the Wickedly Smart Women brand. She says it's been a stellar experience, and we've really enjoyed working with her. And then Jackie Perry, she says, I was in a collaborative book earlier this year, a waste of money for me as far as I'm concerned. No follow-up, no cohesiveness, no collaboration among the authors, and distant. You're not. Keep up the way you're doing things. You're getting a system down and it's working. Rock on with your bad self. So I love that. So as a musician, I love especially the rock on part, right? Now, Debbie Allen, she's an expert, positioning expert. And she says she's been a professional expert in marketing and books for over 20 years. And I learned a lot from Linda. She had published already 8 books by herself, solo author. And she did her 9th book with us. And she had a different experience than she had with all those other 8 books. And some of them she actually did with the big box companies. So she learned a lot from us by partnering with us on that. And so I'm going to ask you this question. Do you see how by being in a collaboration book can increase your ability to become a best-selling author? Do you see that? Is that something that you can see yourself? Can you envision yourself as being a best-selling author? Is that something you can see? I'm just going to take the yeses from before. There we go. Okay, awesome. We got some yeses in there. So here's one objection you may have, and that may be that, I don't got time for this. I ain't got time for this. Well, I want to share with you that we've created a system that makes it easy for you to be part of our books. You write a chapter and we do everything else. I mean, literally, we do everything else. We give you the content to market. We give you everything you need in order to connect with the other authors. We host meet and greets twice a month for you to meet other authors. So we create as many opportunities as we can for you to meet other people. We also interview you on our platform. We give you the opportunity to be interviewed, I should say, because not everybody takes us up on that opportunity, but it is available for you. And this is to help you to get your message there out into the world. So the efficiency, we also have, as I mentioned, Sally Green, she's in the chat there. She, as our VP of Author Development. If you're feeling stumped on your chapter, you're not sure what to write, you're not sure what direction to take, you hop on a call with her, a live person. You hop on a call with a live person and she helps you through that. So we've created a system that works, that helps our authors to become best-selling authors in a quick and fast, fun, and easy way, which is their tagline for us. Fast, you guys made it fast, fun, and easy. So we use those words. You have an expanded network and reach, as we mentioned earlier, and then diverse perspectives and expertise. This is cool because you get to hear different people's perspective, like when they went through their divorce, what did they learn? What did they grow from? You might actually learn something from reading their chapters as well. So Connie Sands says, your guidance on the process, your step-by-step outline gave me more confidence that I can indeed do this. So we really do help our authors to make the best of this and get their message out there. I don't know why this slide is in there, so I'll just say somebody's going to be reading your story just like this. So your time is now. It's time. It's time to step up and say, I'm ready to share my story. I'm ready to have my story empower other people with it so that they can make a greater changes in their lives and so that you can make a greater impact on the planet. And here's one of the things we do, as I mentioned, we do make this fast, fun, and easy. Once the book is filled, filling the book is the hardest part. And that's what we're here today to do, is we're here to invite you to be part of this book. We're here to invite you to share your story. We're here to invite you through this whole entire journey. Once the book is filled, everything moves fast, fun, and easy. Now, Mardi has a goal to publish this book in the middle to end of November. So the chapters will be due by the middle of August. So you got plenty of time to write your chapter if you join us today and embark on this journey. By joining us today, one of the benefits that you get is you get early access to everything that we're doing at Action Takers Publishing. Opportunities to connect with other authors, meet those authors, get your interviews. You have so many different opportunities by joining us today, starting now. So the other thing about these collaboration books, you're not alone. When you write a solo book, as I've written two now, those solo books, I am all alone, 100% by myself, doing everything. Now, I know how to do it because I've done so many of these books. I know how to publish it. I know how to market it. I know how to do all that stuff. But if you don't know how to do all those things, you're alone. You got to figure all that out. You don't have our expertise. One of the things I love about the collaboration books is many of our authors have been in a collaboration book, and then they decided to be in a solo book. Now they got to see part of the process of what happens, and it makes it a lot easier for them in their solo books. Many of them have published with us. We do solo book publishing as well. But today we're here to talk about the collaboration books. And then the proprietary best-selling author system. Our system works. Every book that we have published, even our solo authors, they are all #1 international best-selling books. Our system works. I'm going to share with you just like one of my favorite tips here is to get started is to dictate into Word or Google Docs. And what I love about this is that, first of all, it's faster because you're just speaking. You're not typing everything. And oftentimes when we type, how many times have you been typing something, you had an idea, and then by the time you finished typing, you forgot what the idea was? That happens to me many times. And so what I love about dictating your chapter into a Word document or a Google Doc is that you're actually sharing your story, your voice from your voice, as opposed to from your fingers. I don't know about you, but when I type more seriously than when I speak. Now, right now I'm speaking very seriously because, this is a presentation. I want you guys to, hear what we're having to share. But when I do my chapters, I really think of it from the perspective of who am I? Who am I showing up as? And who do I want the people to hear? And they can hear me because I'm actually sharing my words through my voice. So why you're here today, the other side of divorce. Breakups that lead to breakthroughs. We would love for you to join us in this book. You'd share your message of a divorce that you've gone through. Have you been married and are now divorced, or like me, I'm remarried. I've been remarried now for 36 years, but that first marriage was the one that I will definitely be talking about the divorce through that. Did you learn something from your divorce? If you learned something from your divorce, just put a #1 in the chat. Put a #1 down there. Did you learn something from your divorce? I'm going to put a 1 because I learned. I'm going to put actually a lot of 1s because I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot through that divorce. And then would you like to help others to learn from your mistakes that you made and or from the things that you could have done differently? Is that something that, okay, yeah, Stacy McAlpine, she's got like 6 or 7 1s there. Yeah, right. We learned a lot through our divorces, and it's time to share that information with the world. So the next thing is that if you answered yes to any of those questions or anything related to divorce, and that you have a message of empowerment, you have a message of how that divorce does not define you, how you can learn something from your divorce, you can learn from all of that, then this book is definitely a perfect fit for you. And as I shared, there is an investment to join us in this book. It is 3 easy payments of $800, or you can save $400 by jumping in at $2,000 up front. So there's 2 ways to get started with us. And I'm going to put the link in the chat there as well. Or actually, Sally, can you put the link in the chat, the hyperlink in the chat? So what does this investment go for? We do have staff. We have people that are putting this together. It's not free to put together a book. If you're doing your own book and publishing it, you would have all the expenses yourself. Whereas in a collaboration book, now, like from the marketing materials and the content, helping you to write your book, hopping on a call with a coach who can help you write your chapter, all of these things are available for you because we want you to succeed as well as we want the book to succeed. We want us to succeed also. So that's what we're doing here with these books. So the investment here is $800 for 3 easy payments. Sally Green just dropped a link in the chat, actiontakerspublishing.com/divorce. And we'd love to have you join us. If you're interested, just go and click that link, join us today. And if you have any questions, I'm going to remove that now from my screen. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat and ask us right now, or you can hop on a call with either me or Marty at a later date. Again, the chapters will be due in the middle of August, so you have a little bit of time The chapters will sell out. And so if you want to, this is our first presentation on this. So if you jumped in today, you'd be our first one. So what I'm going to offer today is for the first 5 people who jump into this book, that you'll have an opportunity to hop on a call with me to talk about your strategy for utilizing this book, to get seen, to get heard, to get on those stages, to have an opportunity to make money with the book. You will have a one-on-one call with me. And normally it's a $750 call for 1 hour. If you are interested in that, if you're one of our first 5 to join us, you will get that call with me. I got to make a note of that. Or Sally, if you can make a note of that to remind me, that because I don't usually do that. So you'll have an opportunity to hop on a call with me on that. Does anybody have any questions? Or Marty, did I miss anything? Is there anything that you would like to elaborate on?
Well, thank you. No, you did a great job, Linda. And I just want to say that fast, easy, and fun is definitely what this is. And I've got to say, I've got some bonuses for people going in as well. Most of you know I have a podcast. So I am going to do panel, once the book comes out, I'm going to do panel episodes where there'll be 3 or 4 people, depending on the number of chapters that are in the book. And you'll have a chance to get out and talk about your story if you want to. And this is entirely voluntary. You can get on the podcast and talk about it. I'll be doing a Facebook Live, and I will be promoting the chapter as well with the communities and the different divorce organizations that I'm a member of. So I think this is an opportunity to really move this forward.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. And I love, Jack. We have Jack Perez.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jack.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love that comment, and I'm going to share this because you love the collaboration book idea. Just not sure this is the right topic for me, given my audience. And that's a great point. Not every book is right for everybody, right? So you have to look at this and see, does this make sense for me to share my message in this book, based on the audience that you're working with. If you're a person who is like Marty, and you work with people who are going through divorce, if you're a life coach, this could be a great book for you. So whether you work with people who are going through divorce or not at this moment, being a life coach, this is a way for people to see that you have a message. You have a message that's going to help people through situations. So it's not necessarily about divorce. Like that's not the, as far as the target audience to get your message to, it's not necessarily just about divorce. It's about people being able to see that you can help through situations. So whatever that situation is that they're going through. Divorce is a very stressful time for, it's like one of the divorce is like, what's the percentage right now?
It's the second most stressful event according to the psychological scale. And the first one is the death of a spouse. So it's right up there.
Wow.
And I think the divorce rate, if that's what you were going to ask about, Linda,
yeah.
I think it's about 48% for first marriages, but second marriages, it's over 60%. So
really,
yeah, unfortunately, the more times we marry, the less
smarter we get. The smarter we get faster.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Stacy says, I am committed and excited to be a part of it. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Stacy. I'm so glad to have you. So it is interesting. I didn't know that divorce was the second highest, stress related situation. And that's crazy, because as I look back at my first divorce, it was stressful, but boy, was I glad that it was final. So it was actually leading up to the divorce. I think that was the most stressful part, right? Making the decision.
Right.
Making that decision. And then you've got all the agonizing, like what happens, between the day of the decision and the day that it's final. That's a lot of stuff to help us work through. And so, like I said, if you're a life coach, you don't specifically work with people who are going through divorce. People who have been through divorce or people who are going through divorce could use your help.
Right.
Anybody.
And I always say like divorce is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And I respect that. But people who do, especially women who can say, I did this and, I was married for 30 years and then I went through this divorce and then I was by myself. But then all of a sudden I just blossomed. And I think that's the reality. We don't hear those stories. We hear the stories of the terrible situation, like the War of the Roses, if you remember that old movie. you hear those kind of terrible divorce stories, but you don't hear the successful things that people do after a divorce. And that's really what I want to focus this one on.
I love that, Marty, because shining a light. There's one of my mentors, his name is Dave Corbin, and he wrote a book called Illuminate, and it's all about illuminating the negative so that you can shine a light on the positive. Because sometimes we, like you said, like people don't want to talk about it, but the reality is that's why we need to talk about it.
Right.
Anything that we don't want to talk about, a lot of times it's from fear, it's shame, right? We're feeling ashamed of going through this. We're feeling ashamed of whatever it is. And because of that, that's why we need to talk about it, not only for others, but for ourselves. Because when we talk about these situations, it can help us to heal. So by us shining a light on it and you helping us to shine a light on your story, your message of empowerment after divorce, of what you've done, like what kind of breakthrough have you had from going through your divorce, we're able to shine a light on it's not always bad. This is, yes, it can be taboo in some cultures, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
That you can be the one who makes a change, that you can be the one that makes a decision. And Marty, if you know these numbers, we didn't talk about any of this beforehand, by the way. So any questions I ask her, they're completely off of my head. Do you have any idea what percentage of divorces are started by women, initiated by women?
I do know that number.
You do?
70% of divorces in the United States. And if you look at, if you isolate just women with a college degree or higher, it's 90%.
90% with a college degree or higher initiate the divorce.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, I initiated mine. I don't have a college degree, so I was part of 60%.
And I want to say this. So just because I want to be clear, I'm not pro-divorce. I'm not like, well, everybody should get a divorce. I'm not against divorce either. It's an opportunity and it's an option that if the relationship isn't working and it's not healthy and it's not moving you forward, then you need to, then I'm all for it. But I totally respect that staying together in a relationship is ultimately what you would want everybody to be able to do. But people are people and it doesn't always work. So how do you turn that around and really make that positive and like you said, shine the light on the fact that you can go through a challenging situation and come out the other side and really experience some amazing things. And it could be finding your true life partner. I mean, that's a positive. That's certainly, and a lot of women, excuse me, that go through divorce feel like, well, I'll never find that person.
Yeah.
And just to be able to say, I did it. I found him or her or whoever it may be.
And that's a great point because I found, my husband 36 years ago, we found each other, and it's been, if I hadn't divorced my first husband, that never would have happened. It never would have happened because I wouldn't have been looking for somebody like him, So it's so interesting there. And like Leandra, she says, I didn't know the 90%. I mean, that's astronomical. So you're thinking about just that one number right there, right? 60% of women initiate the divorce, but 90% of those who are educated, through, college degrees, 90% of them initiate the divorce. What does this mean? This means that, I don't know. What does this mean, Marty? I have my own thoughts.
I don't really know. I don't know.
Okay.
But I do know that, I mean, even, and I just saw this, like it's only been 50 years that women could get their own credit card or take out a loan, without their husband's signature. They couldn't even rent an apartment at one point in time. A single woman couldn't rent an apartment without a male signature, her father or her partner or somebody. And so, we think we've come such a long way, but not really. Not as far. Not as far as I think maybe we have in the past. And so I think, a lot of people are still stuck in that mindset that you have to be married. And I think sometimes that's why people maybe don't divorce, because there's financial concerns. There's, if you have kids, it's much harder as a single mom. And sometimes parents feel guilty if they go through a divorce, like, what am I doing to my kids? And, I just think a lot of that is that what if thinking in our heads that's not helpful. But again, maybe having just the ability to look and see what other women have done might help people make those tough choices.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have a siren going on right now, so I might mute myself every once in a while. I totally agree with that because what came to mind was when you were mentioning about today, like back then we couldn't even get our own credit cards. 50 years ago, my mom was known as Mrs. Roy Webb.
Yeah,
She didn't have an identity, until many years later, like in the 70s, I think is when she started to, call herself Marge instead of Mrs. Roy. She called herself, I'm Mrs. Roy Webb. I mean, that was the way it was back then. So things have changed a lot. And I'm going to share my perspective on the divorce, the initiating the divorce, 90% of educated women. I think that they just feel more confident that they can make it on their own, right? It's like if you're not, at like a college education, you might have doubts about yourself, that your ability to fend for yourself or to support yourself financially. Whereas maybe this is my perception on it. I was so young that I didn't even care about any of that. I was 21 when I walked out on my first husband, and I had two little babies. I had a 4-week-old and a 14-month-old. But I realized I was living my mom's abusive life. I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household. I was repeating my mom's pattern, and I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want my kids to grow up in an environment that I grew up in. And so I actually remember, I'll share this. I remember one day I said to my ex-husband now that, while we were fighting, and I said, if you want these kids to grow up hating you like I hate my dad, then I'll stay with you. I yelled it. I didn't say it like that, like calm,
right.
but I yelled it. And after those words came out of my mouth, I realized how ridiculous that is, that I would settle for somebody if they want me to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I ran out of there. I couldn't run out of there fast enough. I ran away from him and just got out of there. Like I ran away at 5, I ran away at 21.
Well, you ran away or you got into a better place. That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Different outcome there, right?
Yeah, and that's a great point there. It's like I say now is like, did I run away or was I running to something better? At the time, I felt like I was running away, but the reality is that I was saying, enough is enough. I'm not taking this, and I'm out of here because I know that there's got to be something better for me out there.
Yeah,
That's not where my mindset was at the time,
exactly.
but that
Exactly.
came later, right? Because I was in this whirlwind of so many negative emotions that were going on, and that was the stress that I was experiencing, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even if you file for divorce, you still feel that same sense of stress and some guilt, sometimes embarrassment. I didn't want anybody to know that I was getting a divorce. I didn't want anybody to know. So it can be very lonely and isolating as well. And I think that that's the same no matter what socioeconomic or what education level you have. Um, you know, you don't want this to become community gossip and community news.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think there's so much potential for us to share our stories and to help other women. And again, I really want to stress that you don't need to get into the weeds of the divorce and all the bad things, but really about how what those feelings were for you and how that changed so dramatically and how you were able to accomplish bringing this life that you wanted or this life that you
Yeah.
enjoy now, how you were able to bring that forward. And I think those stories are so positive and helpful for people.
Yeah, so true. The clarity that I gained by going through that divorce situation, and what I learned about myself, for the next 4 years I spent, searching for me and trying to find me. I didn't find me fully yet, at that time, but I found a lot of me, and it was through taking that first step of saying, I know there's something better out there for me.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband, 4 years later, and it's been 36 years of fortunately, a blissful marriage. We know how fortunate we are. It's not bliss all the time, 100% of the time, but I will give us like a 98% of the time.
Oh, that's good.
Last week we had an unblissful moment. Okay. So with that said, let's see. Jacqueline says, like, I'm a third-degree black belt in TKD, Taekwondo, which was a direct consequence of my divorce. That's awesome. I love that. So there was something that the divorce created something like that, and that's incredible because a lot of people don't get into doing Taekwondo. I am a first-degree white belt. in Taekwondo. So I think I got yellow belt. I got first degree white. Yeah, I'm just calling it first degree. I know that's not what it really is, but I got my yellow belt in Taekwondo. So, oh, fantastic. We have London in the house too. Woo, woo, woo. I love it. So if you have any questions or you're not sure if this is a book for you, you're not sure of the process, how you can write your story, what part of your story would be, make sense to fit in the book, you reach out to either me or Marty. We're happy to hop on a call with you to talk about it. Here's one thing about me is I want you to have all the information that you need to make an empowering decision. Is this right for you? We don't want you to join just to join.
Right.
It has to be right for you. It's going to be right for us, the people who join. We already know that. But if it's not right for you, it doesn't make sense. So just going to hop on a call with me or Marty and learn a little bit more about it. In the meantime, you just go check it out, the website, actiontakerspublishing.com/divorce. You head on over there, see what it's all about. You can sign up right there if you want to sign up, or you can hop on a call with me or Marty if you have more questions. So with that said, Marty, final words?
No, I really appreciate everybody coming in and, listening to the presentation. And I thank you for your time. And I hope that if this feels like a good fit, that you're able to join. And again, if I can answer any questions, y'all, most of you know me, at least the people I'm seeing typing in the chat, I'm trying to read it as I'm paying attention to Linda. Please feel free to reach out to me or talk to Linda directly. She's this is exactly what you get when you talk to Linda. She's going to be honest. It's not a pressure thing. So if it's not right for you, I completely respect that. If you think it is, come on in and we've got, let's get started building a community around this book.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're unsure, you're on the fence on it, please just hop on a call. I'm not a pushy salesperson. I don't believe in that. I believe that I'm a person who educates and gives information. And I give you all the tools and information that you need in order for you to make an empowered decision. I want you to feel empowered with this decision. So if you decide to work with us, then you're like, okay, I'm doing this because it's right for me. That's what we're looking for. I'm not here to sell anybody anything. Right. I'm here to give you information. So Jacqueline, I see you definitely want to hop on a call. If you go to that website, the actiontakerspublishing.com/divorce, if you scroll down, you'll see it says, hop on a call with Linda. Go ahead and click that link and let's schedule a time to hop on that call. And then how do we schedule a call? Oh, there we go. She asked, how do you schedule a call with Linda? You go to the website. And then Leandra, thank you. She says, learn so much. And a yellow belt is a start. That's exactly right. Fantastic. This was great, Marty. Thanks so much. Hey, look, we finished before top of the hour, which is awesome. That was our goal. And again, if you have any questions, please just reach out to me. I'm here to answer them. And if you want to watch the replay will be available to you as well. So everybody have an amazing day. And we look forward to seeing if this is a fit for you or not, and then to having you in the book.
Can I just mention, Linda, that
yes,
we are having another one of these on May 11th. So if you heard this and maybe it wasn't right for you, but maybe you're thinking, oh, I know somebody that might be interested, you can just refer them back to the same website, actiontakers.com/divorce. And then the new date will be there and they can sign up and register for this workshop on the 11th.
That's great. Great. Thanks for mentioning that, Marty. Thanks everybody so much. And we have just a quick little, I want to play the little video commercial because we love this. Okay.
You took the overwhelm out of the whole entire process. You said you set the guidelines, you said how many words to have. And it's like, once I sat down and started typing, it just all came out so quickly and so easily. And I loved it. And I had fear to write. And I know about that. I know about that blockage within myself, but it just was so amazing how easy the process was working with Action Takers Publishing.
At the beginning of 2023, I had a great burning desire to get my work and my writing out into the world. I wanted to build a consistent writing practice, and I was struggling with how to get started. And it was with the perfect timing that I was invited by a friend of mine to participate in my very first collaboration book. And I now have 3 collaboration books under my belt, 2024, with Action Takers Publishing. So it's really changed my life and my world and just how I write about my experiences and stories. And if you're looking to get started and you just really don't know how, this is such a supportive place for that.